Okay, so last night I said that I would find the video and make the video, and that's what took me so long. So I'm here. I'm making a second part of this time anomaly thing because of all the things that's been going on with the Marvel movie universe, and people are saying that a lot of the time elements and stuff are irrelevant for what's been going on with Cap, multiverse, and shit like that. So I found a clip of an X-Men cartoon with Bishop that I mentioned in my other video, and it's gonna have to be rewound now. But it's about the mysterious little green dude that I couldn't think of while I was trying to make it in the first video, which is why I have to make two. And plus, I promised 3 videos, so I'm gonna make the second one. I'm gonna try to keep it short, sweet, and explain the time anomaly in Marvel before retconning and before Disney's big conglomerate that it has become with Marvel, which ties into how these time anomalies and these alternate universes and stuff work on my theory and how everything was in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and then the 2000s before this big ass retconning thing happened. So, if you are old enough to remember that Marvel had, Fox had this X-Men cartoon that came on. It's a 4-parter, and it was called Beyond Good and Evil: The End of Time. So I'm going to cut that off so you guys can see it a little bit better. And you're going to watch this real quick. It's only like 2 minutes long. But this is where Bishop went. And I'm thinking Cap may have went to the same area.
So close, yet so far. So far, so good. So long. What the? I'm not the man I used to be. You can't catch me. You can't catch me.
And no, he's not the one above all.
I'm over here. No, I'm not there. I'm over here. Oh, I'm gone. Stop it. Give me some straight answers. Okay, no spill. Call me Bender, so few do. Well, that's because you're the only other one here. That's crazy. And where's here? The access of time. No time like the present. Can't run away from your past. But your future's so bright, I can hardly see you. Been here 10,000 years. Give or take. Oh, your molecules are getting a little unstable after a while. But how did I get here? Through the axis. How else? All time travelers pass through there. Anyone knows thoughts? Some big guy threw you off course. If the axis is the way out of this dump, that's where I'm going. Oh, we're going on a trip! How exciting. Follow the yellow brick road. This clown's wearing thin. Pictures! Someone's playing with time! The X-Men. You can't kill time, silly. Don't you like those people? Anybody who can get me out of here will be my friend for life. Don't everybody volunteer at once.
Okay, so let me. I pressed the wrong button. I'm about to stop the video instead of stopping the other video. Okay, so that being said, I've been searching for this for a long time. I remembered it and wanted to point that out for this whole time paradox thing with Captain America going back with Peggy Carter and all this stuff. So before retconning and all that stuff happened, this cartoon happened. When I thought about it, when I started watching all these videos explaining the multiverse and how the MCU and everything's going on, and I said, okay, so that guy there made me think maybe Cap ran into Cap, and I did another video about this with Major Victory running into Justice, aka Marvel Boy, aka Vance Astro before he became Vance Astro when he was just Vance Astrobot, who legally joining a space program and changing his name into Vance Astro so that he could become Major Victory, etc., etc. Now, in the case of Vance Astro meeting Vance Astro, that's a horse of a whole nother color. They've never touched in that on Marvel Comics cartoons, but the comics themselves have touched in on that. I showed you guys pictures in the other video. It's probably posted. If not posted, it will be posted. But anyway, so what happens when you meet yourself in another time frame? My theory on that with Captain America is that old Cap met himself somewhere in between that time frame and probably was watching from the shadows to see how it would play out, because maybe in his original timeline it didn't play out the way he wanted it and he survived, and then somewhere in that time nexus they bumped into each other and he tried to tell him everything not to do. The same thing with Stephen Strange telling Tony when he used the Akamoto and did all this stuff and became one of the things to decide how things are going to happen. Now, that being said, this is all my opinions. None of this shit is based in fact. But because I am a Major Victory fan, I wanted to touch on that because Major Victory, I believe it was the one from the 691, they went and met the one in the 616 to try to change his future because he thought he was going back to change his own future so that he wouldn't get lost in space and be stuck in the future, blah, blah, blah. Which is why Major Victory has been one of those characters who, just like Captain America, who was frozen in ice, has some time issues of his own. He's also one of my favorite characters because of that. If you read the first Guardians of the Galaxy comic, it will have a, not like the very first one, but like somewhere in the first few, it will have him explain how he got there and why he was stuck in his suit, because he was frozen for like a millennium. You know, so his suit kept him from aging, and he was aging rapidly, so he got the suit. And then eventually they cure that, and he's aging normally, and he gets another suit, and then he gets the Captain America suit, and then he gets another suit, but I forgot why he went back to going into like a symbiote type suit. But anyway, those 4 suits have a significant meaning in his life. I know, a little off track. But to make the long story short there is that Cap could have met himself while taking back the Infinity Stones, who probably told him, this is what you're going to do. It is not because I suggested it, and it's not because I met another Cap. It's because I already done it, and you're going to do it even if I tell you not to do it. You're probably still going to do it because I and you are one and the same. And in that time, there was another movie way back in the day, and I think it was like, it had something to do with the word Apex or something, where this dude, he went through time because he lost his wife and everything. And at the end, the future him went back and met the past him, and they had a big talk. And then I think the past him went back and stopped everything at the same time. I can't remember. Somebody else has probably seen this movie, but I've seen this movie. And if I ever find the damn thing, it wasn't the Apex with Kevin Spacey, but it was like a different Apex. It was like kind of like the Terminator-like thing. And time is a paradox to begin with, because if you watch the beginning of this video in that clip, that little green anomaly dude that says his name was Bender, he specifically said the one thing that no matter in our reality and any reality, you cannot kill time. What he left off was, in true fashion, in the real world, in the world in which we live, you cannot alter or reverse time like you do in the MCU. So since this is all dealing with the MCU and not our real world, in the comic book world, nothing is impossible. Just think about how many times people have died and come back, i.e. the Phoenix, i.e. Jean Grey, who was never the Phoenix until this retconning thing happened where they became one and the same. And then the retcon happened again where they were different, and then there's Rachel Grey instead of Rachel Summers. Do not ask me what the hell happened there, because by the time Rachel Grey came around, I'm pretty much done with comics. So to explain this thing, you have to think before retconning, and using Major Victory as a stepping stone for that. He's the only Marvel character that I personally knew that has gone back through time to meet himself. I think initially he went back in time to stop himself from being frozen and transported all the way through time and all the other stuff. Because I think they had to freeze him so that he could make it to Alpha Centauri without fucking dying. Because at the time, him being a mutant, not knowing how long a mutant lifespan could last, was part of the kick. And at one point in time, the Guardians of the Galaxy actually had a living ship in which they lived on, which provided everything, oxygen, food, etc., etc., and it was a great ship. I can't remember if it was Gray Marklin, because Gray Marklin initially was X Factors, and then it was Cables. But I think it also may have belonged to Apocalypse first. But I'm not going to swear to it because, like I said, everything's been retconned, so I could be like seriously wrong on all of the shit that just came out of my mouth because of retconning. Now, before retconning, everything I said was pretty close to accurate, but after retconning, that was like a done deal. So everything I said is relevant and not relevant at the same time, kind of like time itself. Now, with Major Victory literally went back and met himself. So, for the MCU, there's no telling if Cap met himself and told him how he was going to play this shit out. And then you have to worry about the Bucky Barnes factor. Bucky comes into play because when he says, don't do anything stupid, he says, I can't, you're taking all the stupid with you when you go. Bucky clearly must have had some consultation with Steve before he left. So he probably talked to him in private and probably told him, I'm going to make Falcon the new Captain America. Now, I don't know how it worked in the comics, because like I said, come 2010 or 11, I stopped reading comics after they got rid of mutants and stuff like that, because I've always been the biggest X-Men and Spider-Man fan. If it wasn't for the X-Men, or better yet, if it wasn't for Spider-Man, I would have never met the X-Men. And I would have never met the New Mutants. I would have never met X-Factor. So X-Men came into my life through Spider-Man. And they all came into my life after I stopped reading DC Comics, which Jonah Hex was like that in Justice League. And then when I discovered the X-Men and Spider-Man, I could relate more to the X-Men because technically, and I'm going to say this lovingly for everybody who's like me, who's multicultural or biracial, we are actually mutants. Because the fact that you are the child of a parent of one ethnicity and the parent of another ethnicity, and they made you, technically you could be classified as mutants because you're not the normal. I mean, you're normal humanly, but racially you're not the normal. If that makes sense to you, hopefully that it does. So, Captain America, going back to put the Infinity Stones exactly back at the exact point in time where they were removed so that it's like nothing happened. Now I'm going to tell you why that is microscopically, metaphysically, and incorrectly impossible. The simple fact is simple. If you've watched Endgame and you've seen how they went through all that drama, so if they do that and Cap has to go back, plus he has to put Mjolnir back, we have a big issue here. And you will have to learn that in the next video. I'm James William James, Couple Habit number 2, be seeing you.